Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and saddle her up now, put her saddle up. The way that I get these heavy saddles on is I actually just bring it over to my right hip, holding under the gullet and under the skirt in the back. And then whenever I rotate around, I'm going to push up with my hip, and that's going to cause the cinch, rear cinch, and the stirrup to fly over the horse so that it doesn't get caught underneath the saddle. The next part of this is I want to make sure that I have the same amount of pad sticking out the front of the saddle as I do out the back of the saddle. And I can just use my hand for that. I've got about 4 fingers width, a little more here. So I'm going to bring my saddle up, even that out, and then I'm going to check side to side. So I usually check on this little leather portion, this little guard here on the side of the pad, and you know, if I were to just do kind of the same thing, maybe just use a part of the saddle, you could even see that this tie here on this rear billet is right in line with the stitching on this side of the pad. So now I'll check the other side just to make sure that it's close to the same. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys, but it does need to be pretty close. Okay, now you can see on this side that the tie on the billet is below the stitching. So I have more pad over there than I do over here. And it's pretty simple to fix. Just bring it over, just pull it over, all right? Simple enough. Now from there, I'll go ahead and drop down all of my rigging. I'm going to drop down my cinch and my rear cinch off my keeper there. And then I have to make sure that I have my cinch and rear cinch set properly for the length. And we go by these rings right here on the middle of the cinch. I'm just going to push that under. It should be on this side of the center of the bottom of the horse. And that's pretty close. And it's a good thing too. On this horse, that's about as far as I have on that off billet. All right. And then the rear cinch needs to be a little looser because it has to go around the belly. So let's go back around to the other side and I'll show you how to tie this on. First thing I'm going to do is get my stirrup out of the way. Be careful when you set these stirrups out of the way. You know, that's about an 8-pound stirrup. Make sure it's securely pressed over that seat so that it doesn't fall back and hit you in the head. So I have my latigo ready to go. I'll bring my cinch under. I'm going to run the tip of the latigo through and just pull, and it all falls right through there evenly. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to attach this saddle today. The first way that I'm going to show you is how to tie a latigo knot. It's the same as a half Windsor. And it's a pretty simple knot to tie. You just make 3 numbers, 7, 4, and 11. So you can see this resembles a number 7. And then you'll fold this, come across the front to make a number 4. Then you'll fold this under, come through the D, around the D, through it, and then back down through this loop we just made, pulling tight, and 7 plus 4 equals 11. Okay, so that is the knot we're looking for. This is a latigo knot. The great thing about a latigo knot is you can always adjust the tautness of the cinch with this knot very easily. So just pull up on this, you pull over on this, and pull down on this. Okay, we can pull all that slack out. And now it's tighter. We can also loosen it just in the opposite way. Just gonna pull that through and then pull down, and now we have a loose cinch. So, when you're cinching up a horse, you're tacking the horse up, you always want to put this cinch on first. It's the most important part of the saddle. It's the one thing that actually holds the saddle on the horse. If you put the rear cinch on first or the breast collar on first, if this saddle had one, and the horse spooked at something, moved around, and you didn't have the cinch on, the saddle can actually slide underneath the horse and still remain attached under the horse, causing the horse to spook even more. So you always want to have this on first. All right, and then you're going to come in and do your rear cinch. This one's pretty simple. It just attaches to these billets on the back. It's just going to come up, and you don't need this to be super tight. It just needs to be touching the belly. Now, maybe if I were roping or using my saddle for a bigger purpose, I might bring it in just a little more snug, but it's never going to be as tight as the cinch is.